The
I've
latest
actually
episode.
started recording,
Oh, okay.
so whenever you're ready,
Okay.
you can just start.
If we want to,
Okay.
if we want to do another take, can, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Gajen, if we end at 12:30, are you okay?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
It's fine, yeah,
What time
don't
do you
worry.
need to go out?
12:32. No.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Wait, meanwhile while talking, can I look at the camera?
No.
Yeah.
Cannot.
No.
Yeah, look at the camera. Why not?
Why
Just
would you
smile.
look at the
Please
camera?
Smile.
Oh, while I'm talking to the camera, yeah, then you smile. Then after
Just
that,
smile.
it will
While
be
I'm
just
talking
with you.
also, no, just with you only. So,
just
okay,
with
okay, so just with you. Okay.
Yeah, so it's as if we're having a morning coffee chat.
Okay, can.
Yeah?
Okay.
I'm
So
paranoid
just
that
be-
way. Okay. How's my baby hair? Okay.
Fine.
Records, how are you guys doing today? Make some noise! What results is correct? I'm Malaysia's favorite Chindian comedian because I'm the only one. For the international people, Chindian is a combination of Chinese and Indian, which means I'm stingy and cheap at the same time. There's another term for it, it's called Groupon. But the reason why I always start off with this line is because, let me ask you one thing. How many of you here think that I look like a foreigner? Make some noise. Thank you for being racist. I know I look like a Bangladeshi. It's okay, I know some of you are nodding in racism. Yes, you look like a... I know I look like a Bangladeshi because a few years ago, I actually had a gig at a hotel ballroom. And before the gig, I was going through my comedy script. Within few minutes, 3 people came and asked me, "Boss, mana toilet?" I said, "Saya orang Bangladeshi, mana pun boleh." Some people even say that I look like a Nepalese. A few years ago, I drove up to my friend's condominium. So I walked up to the Nepalese security guard, and he just walked off because he thought I was taking over his show. Which is true, by the way, because 1 year later I was dating this girl, and she was so transparent. She was like, "Gajen, I'm being really honest with you. I like you a lot, but you honestly remind me of my condominium's Nepalese security guard." Which I think is great because that's what most women want, right? Security. A lot of girls are not specific with their goals. You ask a lot of girls, what's the first thing you want in a guy? I want a guy who provides me the highest level of security. Security guy means that saya nak kasih dia.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the latest episode of Why People Do What They Do. Now, today we've got a very special guest, Gajen Nad, known as Malaysia's first Chindian comedian. It's particularly special for me because Gajen and I go way back to primary school when we were classmates, and he has evolved to quite a performer, and we're very happy to have him here today with us. Gajen, thanks for being with us here today. Now, first question is, you have been doing stand-up comedy for about 7 years now. So
Yep.
tell us a little bit about how you got started and really what inspired you to do what you're doing right now.
So it started off in Monash University.
Yeah.
Where I entered a competition called Monash Talent Night. So initially I just wanted to do a dance.
Okay.
And then,
What kind of dance?
Michael Jackson, because at the time he actually passed away the same year.
Okay.
So, but then I was thinking again, I don't like things that are mainstream. So like in every talent competition, you always find singers, dancers. So I thought, why not I tell some jokes also? So within that 8 minutes performance time, so I did 4 minutes of dance and 4 minutes of stand-up.
Was it Michael Jackson or was it something else? Another kind of
Michael
dance?
Jackson.
Michael Jackson,
Yeah.
coupled with jokes.
Yeah, coupled with my jokes. So I got second in that whole
Nice.
competition, yeah. And ever since that, university kept asking me to perform every single year. Then after that, I uploaded some videos on YouTube. People saw it and said, "You know what, Gajen, I think you should like officially perform like in public." So I wanted to try this show called Comedy Cow Cow at Publica. So that was on February 2012. And I got a lot of good feedback from that show. And after that, I just kicked off because at that time they needed a lot of open micers.
Okay.
So from there, it just took off.
What do you love about performing? Like from that night, that talent night at Monash University, what was it that you loved most? Like, do you like engaging with the audience? Do you like the applause? What was it really? Because I remember the first time I saw you perform was when we were in Standard 6
Yeah.
in our primary school, SK Batu Lancang, plug it there. SK Batu Lancang, our Standard 6 farewell dinner, was it?
Correct,
and I
yeah.
remembered you performing NSYNC's Dirty Pop,
Correct.
Dirty Pop,
Pop,
was celebrity
yeah.
pop,
Yeah.
yeah. So that was when I realized Gajen is not just the shy kid in class, he can actually perform, he can sing and dance.
Yeah.
So what was it like? Like, what was it that really engaged you with the audience? What was the one thing that really resonated with you?
Okay, so for that particular performance, I would say it's dancing because
Yeah.
I enjoy dancing as well. But for comedy is that particular competition is I literally want to do something different
Yeah.
because I don't like things that are mainstream. I mean, people want to see things that are rare. But the day I started comedy, like February 2012 in public, the thing that really engaged me was it's really nice to see people laugh. I
Okay.
mean, it's nice for you to laugh, but to make people laugh and to see people laugh, that's a whole new level, and it's very addictive. You feel like you're on top of the world. Like that.
So that was your the
Yeah.
one thing that really made you happy, to make
Yeah.
other people laugh.
Yeah.
Okay, define your style of comedy for us.
So for me,
yeah.
I label myself as like a clean comedian because I don't touch on vulgarity, sex, and religion. Yeah.
Okay.
I do touch on racial topics, but when people say no racist jokes,
How can you? You're Chindian, what?
yeah, exactly.
yeah.
So I always come back to that. I got no racist jokes, but I got diversity jokes.
Okay.
And then it ends there.
Can you share your creative process with us? Is it very methodical for you? Do you prepare? Do you write? Do you practice before going for a certain performance, or you go in there and you just wing it?
Yeah. So for what 90% of the performance you see is always prepared. Even on TV, they can say it's not prepared. It's always prepared. So like for us, the process is a bit long. So it starts off with writing first, like joke writing. And joke writing, there are lots of ways to do it. Last time I used to do a very weird joke writing my first 2 years. I will think of a punchline,
Okay.
I'll jot it down on my phone, and then I work backwards to create the setup, the
Wait.
story that leads to a punchline. So it's a very weird way, it's backwards.
Okay, so
get
you
what I mean?
reverse engineer it.
Yeah. So that was I was a rookie, I didn't have any guidance. But now I started writing from top down.
Okay.
So I think of certain topics where I think they have very good content to be explored, where I can lead to certain plot twists and suspense. So so that I can put the punchlines in. Then that's how I write it. So I'll perform at open mics. That's like our testing ground.
Okay.
We test new jokes and all that.
Do you still do that?
Yeah, I have to.
Yeah?
Every comic has to do open mic because that's the birth of every new joke.
Okay.
Yeah. Then from there, we see the crowd audience. Then we rewrite, see what we can improve. Keep performing open mics. Then we perform at comedy shows, like what's that? A headline comedy show. And after we perform at bigger comedy shows, theatre shows, then at corporate shows. Then that's the flow. lah. So it's just rewrite, polishing. Yeah.
And where do you get your inspiration from? Do you get your inspiration from hanging out with friends, or watching movies perhaps, or meditating and having a joke come to you during meditation? What is it like?
I don't have a specific answer for that actually. So what I do is anything that comes in my mind where there's a potential for a joke, I'll jot it down on my phone first.
Okay.
So I have like a notepad. I put all the topics there. And then when I have a slot just for joke writing, I'll look through my phone and see what are the jokes I can expand.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have a group of friends who are like your focus group for your jokes?
No, most of us write individually, and sometimes we did have that. I think once or twice. But the reason I think most of us write individually because the jokes need to be yourself. It needs to tell who you are. So, but yeah, focus group do help. People can give inputs. We normally have that for after show reviews and all that. It's like,
Okay.
hey, like you saw my set, right? How can I actually improve? Then yeah.
No, I mean, and before that, so that's after the process, right? How
No,
about
it could be like the
before
beginning as well.
The beginning.
Yeah, that
So
means
you,
when you write the joke, the first time you perform, they say, hey, what's the feedback so that I can rewrite? So that's
Okay.
it's not like a focus group, but it's the same thing. Is you're getting feedback so that you can write it better. Yeah.
how do you deal with feedback and reviews? I mean, it must be brutal for some people.
Yeah.
You've worked so hard on a joke, polishing up, getting that inspiration, and then rewriting it, and then to get mediocre to bad reviews. How do you deal with it? Have you ever had bad reviews or bad feedback?
Yeah, every comedian will definitely, every human being will face bad reviews. The question is just how much of bad reviews. So for me, for stand-up comedy, I would say the first review is always the laughter. So if people are not laughing, if people say it's bad, yeah, and you're still defensive, then the problem is with you.
Okay.
But if you're constantly performing, sometimes people can say it's a bad review, but from a different angle. I say, oh, your jokes are like way too localized and it's very cheap shot. I think that's okay. So, but as a comedian, if let's say you're not aware of that, then I think that's bad. But if you're aware of that, then you know you're playing your cards well. They say, no, I got smarter jokes. I've got like all these cheap shot jokes. But this crowd, I look at them. Yeah. So put it really simple, I think as a comedian, right, you got to be really transparent to, you got to be really transparent about your feedbacks about yourself. Because if you're way too defensive and you're like, oh no, I want to feel good, it's very hard to improve.
Okay. What goes on in your mind when you're on stage? Do you have tunnel vision and you're just focusing on my next line? Or do you plan on stage like, okay, this is not working, I have to go back to plan B or plan C?
Actually, everything happens simultaneously because it's very. There are too many variables that are existing during a show. No? For example, like suddenly someone heckles.
Oh.
That's not part of the plan. So suddenly people don't laugh. Suddenly instead of laughing, people go, oh. That means they find it sensitive. And this is the part where your left brain will work. I'm not the part where it's the improvisation part. Yeah. So there's no one structured way when you're on stage. But to put it really simple, when I first started off, when I look at the audience, I treat them as a black box.
Okay.
So I don't look at them individually. Then during my third year of comedy, I wanted to speak to the audience. In comedy, we call it crowd work. That means you talk individually. Hey man, thanks a lot for coming. What's your name? What do you do for a living? And try to get a joke out of it. So that is literally, I got to look at the audience face, and it helps because it gives me information input.
Okay.
Yeah. And if a certain joke doesn't work, then I'll quickly shorten the joke and move on to the next one.
You mentioned earlier about hecklers. How do you deal with hecklers? And did you have to deal with them a lot during your first few years of comedy? And do you still deal with them?
Yeah, I think every comedian will definitely deal with a heckler. It's just a matter of how frequent. For me, fortunately, I don't deal with much hecklers.
Okay.
But I did deal with one last Saturday.
Okay.
The guy was like drinking. It was an open area. Drinking. It was like he was just shouting random things.
Like what? What was he shouting about?
He was saying, nice shoes, I said, wow. They said, oh, I'm also a Malaysian. Just like random stuff. And it's like disrupting the flow. So obviously I told him like, dude, there's a show going on. They said like, enjoy your beer. And, this is what happens when you give an Indian a few beers. And I started to shout and all that. So sometimes you just got to keep the guy down. And the crowd is always with you.
Okay.
So, and people always forget, especially new comedians and all that. I always tell them, you have the mic. So when you have the mic, you are the one in control. Don't worry about these guys. You keep do your show and all that. Yeah.
Do you mentor new comedians these days?
If they come up to me, I don't go up to them and like, hey, like, yeah, because I'm also everyone's in a learning stage. So regardless of how, so if someone comes up to me and say, Gajen, can I get a feedback? Then I will give them feedback. If not, I won't like randomly go up to someone and mentor because it may give a different point of view. So, oh, Gajen's like the guy, who goes around mentoring people, like he himself, like, so I don't want to do that, yeah.
Okay. How do you practice being a better comedian? Do you think that you have reached a stage where you are comfortable and happy at your level of, being a comedian, or do you think that there's a lot of work more to be done?
To me, I would say there's never a level where you're happy on because there's no end game. The moment you say you're happy at that level, regardless of whatever industry, you've indirectly told your mind, I'm going to stop learning it.
Yeah.
So the reason why we need to keep improving is because from time to time things will change. So I'll definitely never say that I'm comfortable at a level. I want to put myself outside the comfort zone. And another reason is because the audience may change. For example, if you watch stand-up comedy in the 90s, the jokes are very long, like setup is long to the punchline. Now it's way quicker. Our attention span is very short. Like you see, like people on Twitter, on Instagram, because attention span is way shorter compared to going to a website. So the same with jokes also. So like for now, in a minute you gotta have like 3 laughs.
Okay.
So that's like 20 seconds.
Is that what you give yourself? Like
yeah.
1 minute, 3 laughs?
I don't tell that to myself like as my first point. I just write my joke. If I feel it feels compact, yeah, it's more like feeling rather than a quantitative thing.
Okay.
Yeah, more of like a qualitative thing. Yeah, because I don't want to be too structured. Like, oh, I didn't get 3 laughs in 1 minute. Yeah, so I just make sure I can get a feel of it and that it's compact. Then that's good enough.
Okay. Now I want to touch on how you decided to venture into this full time.
Yeah.
Because comedy used to be your hobby.
Yeah.
Right. So you come from a family of doctors and engineers, right? Most of them. And you actually studied mechanical or mechanical engineering back in university.
Yeah.
So how was the response like from family and friends when you told them that I found a new passion.
Yeah.
I found comedy as a passion. I want to pursue this part-time. So yeah, what was their response first when you decided to do part-time? And then what was the response like after a few years and you told them, I want to venture into this full-time?
Yeah. So I think that for the part-time part, I think they had no issues because they know that I'm already studying a proper degree, and then after I had a job as an IT consultant. So there are no issues because that is my main, my main pathway, and this is like a side thing.
Yeah.
That's one. Then the part of going full-time, they are okay with it as well because in the whole family, I'm the only one who's the most financial savvy. Like, keep track of all my finances, my expenses, every single thing I spend, I keep track. So they know that, hey, this guy, yeah, we are the ones who are like really professional, but this is the guy who's like, he knows his finances in and out. That's one. Number two is my family knows that every single show that, like for example, last year I did close to 100 shows, and the previous years I've been doing on average 50 to 60 shows while having a 9 to 5 job. So they know that I'm really going all out, and they know that I've really done all my homework. For example, all my safety nets and all that. So they didn't have any issues.
You mentioned you did 100 shows last year.
Yeah.
How do you juggle doing this on the side and having a full-time job as an IT consultant?
So like last year, I actually left my firm in September.
Okay.
So the last 3.5 months was that's where I got most of the shows. Beginning was like maybe once a week, and I think it's all about getting used to it in terms of juggling. Because my first year I actually had issues with it. I was trying to cope. How do I play my cards well with work and comedy? So I think the beginning is the difficult part, but once you get used to it, I think it's pretty normal. And it's also I think like having that rapport with your boss. Once, yeah.
So
I think it's about results.
Yeah. How do you use that rapport with your boss to kind of juggle this
I
full-time
think
job?
work delivery, I guess. As long as you deliver well and they know that you're working hard, then I think they'll give you leeway for this kind of thing. I think a good boss will allow the employee to say, hey, you need to go for it. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so they knew that you were doing this part-time.
Yeah, actually for my job interview,
Watch.
for
Your
Accenture
YouTube
job interview, one of the helpers for the interviewer was an intern, and she asked me, Gajen, you are the comedian from Monash, right? I said, yeah. So the company already knows, yeah. And within the first 2 months, I already performed for the company. So everyone in the company actually knows.
So you were the resident comedian.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. What was the pivotal moment when you decided, I've done 7 years of part-time comedy, it's time to venture out full-time and give this my all?
So the first one was, so last year I had, some of my family members had health issues, so after I took a break. And then after that, mentally I was also struggling between work and comedy. And when you have two heavy things, you're not on top of one of them. You're not performing well for one of them, you're just like average. And that's bad because I rather like perform well in one thing than to have like two average things. So I told myself, okay, why not I take a break first? Let me spend more time with my family. Let me do this full time. Let me give it a shot. That's one. Another thing is also because I keep track of my finances, so I'm well aware that I'm able to do it full time.
Okay. Do you miss going to the office in the morning and seeing colleagues? Do you miss it?
I definitely miss it because I've only worked in one company my entire life, assuming that I don't go back 9 to 5. So it's a very memorable thing to only have worked in one company. Not many people will be able to say that. Yeah.
Was it 7 years, 6 years? 5 years?
5.5 years.
5.5. Nice. Okay. When you were working part-time, when you were working full-time and you were doing this part-time, was there any shows that you had to forego because you had to stay back at the office late at the last minute?
Yeah, that was my first show when I started working. And
tell us about that.
Issue,
yeah.
So that issue was actually more on me because I didn't voice out to my colleagues. I mean my boss. So it was my first few weeks of working.
Okay.
Then I had a show at 9 p.m. So I thought I'd finish work at 6, maybe 7 if I need to work. But that time I had to work until like 11. So at around 8, I was thinking, can I still go off? But I didn't voice it out because I was too scared. So I just kept. Then at 8:30, I told my friend, I said, hey, dude, I don't think so I can make it. So after that, I was like, dude, I gotta work this out, man, because this thing's gonna happen again and again. So, but it only happened once. After that, I started to learn how to manage. I started to be more.
Was that a paid gig? Was that a?
Not really. It's not a paid gig, but at that time it meant very big for me because it's only my second year doing comedy.
Yeah.
So it's like I was very sad about it because I never like to miss gigs and all that. Yeah.
Because I think it'll be really helpful for those that are actually pursuing this, pursuing comedy as a part-time, but are still juggling full-time jobs. Like, how do you actually do it? Like, do you even have a personal life for 5.5 years? Did you have one?
Yeah, I did have one. See, the thing is, at the end of the day, whatever you do, regardless of work or whatever you're doing at the side, the big question is just why. The why will fuel you. So like, why am I going to work? I never like to say I'm going to work because I need to pay my loans. Because I generally like consulting. That's why I never left. And why am I going to comedy even though I'm so tired after doing consulting work? Because I generally like comedy. So the why will fuel it. So when the why is there, you don't have to ask any other questions. The how will come, everything will come into place. When, everything.
What helped you? What kept your focus though? Like, I know it's tiring. You love it, you like it, but your love for it would somehow, your tiredness would somehow cloud your passion for it sometimes, because it's just hard to focus when you're tired. So what would you say to those that tend to forget why they like something in the first place because of pure tiredness?
I would say tiredness, but for me, I had the weekends. So like, no, serious, because when I was juggling these two, there are certain weekends where like I wake up, where on Friday night I have like say 8 to 9 hours of sleep, and then on Saturday morning I wake up and I feel so tired and I'm constantly yawning. I drink coffee and constantly yawning, and I think that's because your body is saying, hey, look, you're already juggling two things, for the past few weeks. I think it's time for this weekend where you just laze off and do nothing. So every, let's say like 3 to 5 weeks, I'll have one weekend where I literally do nothing. I'll just laze around, maybe like sleep during the day. I think it's for the body to recuperate all the energy lost during the
just like potato couch the whole day. Yeah. Who are the people you look up to for inspiration? Is it family and friends? When it comes to your work, your personal life?
I would say, as a stand-up comedian, I would say Jason Leong, because Jason Leong is very similar. Dr. Jason Leong, because it's very similar to. I mean, he had a professional job.
He's a doctor.
He's a doctor, and then he left it, and he's doing it full time. And I think he's really successful among all the young comedians. He's probably the most successful one.
Have you ever collaborated with him?
Yeah, many times.
Oh, okay.
Because the comedians community in Malaysia is really small, so we all know each other.
Okay.
Yeah.
Personal life. Who do you look up to for inspiration?
I would say Trevor Noah, because Trevor Noah is, I notice, number one, he's clean. Number two, I think the way he speaks is very clear, because that's something I'm trying to do as well. Because a lot of Asian comics, when they go overseas, they don't speak clear, and that's a very difficult thing for like Australians, Europeans, or Americans to listen to. And that is something that I just figured out like after 3 years of doing comedy. Then I started doing it. So Trevor Noah, he speaks clear, and his stories are very similar to mine. He said like, I'm a mix. I went through this, through that, and all that, but still clean. So, and he's the host of the Daily Show. So I would say Trevor Noah. In terms of like stand-up comedy, I would say it's Bill Burr and Dave Chappelle. It's because they are just
legends.
Damn hilarious. Yeah.
Okay. Is it a matter, going back to your point about Malaysians not speaking clearly when they go overseas or performing for an international audience, do you think it's the way we enunciate things, or just the way we speak? Or is it an accent that's not very common to the international audience?
I would say it works the other way around. You have to look from the audience's point of view. So for example, like the audience, that they don't really hear our accent as often. So when we go overseas, you got to just speak slower, regardless of wherever it is. So I'll give you an example. Like 2 years ago, I did a tour in India, 17 shows there. And I know Indians in India, they speak very fast. So I think they should be able to cope with my speed. But my first 2 shows, I didn't do too well. And then after I thought it was material, and then later on I found out apparently I was speaking too fast. But I think that statement is not complete. I think I'm speaking too fast with the foreign accent. Foreign in the sense that it's non-Indian accent. So it's very important to know all the specific logic so that you know the why. Because when you're solving problems, if you don't know the why, the specific root cause, then your problem solving skills won't be good. So that is actually the reason.
Now,
So
how
you're
do
going
you
with a
find
foreign
out?
accent,
Yeah, how do you find out though that it was because of you speaking fast in a foreign accent to them?
Comedians feedback. But the comedians feedback will say, I think you're speaking a bit too fast. But I had to think from a neutral standpoint. Besides, as a comedian or whatever you do, sometimes you got to take yourself out from yourself and look from a third party. Look at yourself. Look at the. So for me, it couldn't be just the speed, because I think my speed is fine. So I thought maybe it's the accent. Is their first time listening to my accent, so I got to speak slower and pronounce my syllables clearer.
Okay. Are you going for any more international tours after this?
Yeah, hopefully this year. I thought of going to Bangkok to
Nice.
perform. Yeah, but comedy, nothing kinky and all that.
Okay. Tell us about the one comedy show or that one performance that will always be in your mind, that has the fondest memory for you.
Okay, so to me, the one performance that I'll never forget. It's a shit performance. So it's for a corporate firm.
Okay.
I won't mention which bank. So it was really bad.
But it's a
so
bank.
Yeah, it's a bank. Yeah, we all know it's a bank. So the moment I started, everyone yam-sing. Okay. Then after that, I said a few lines, then everyone yam-sing again. Another table. And then after that, some people started getting drunk. And one guy, because I started with my Chindian joke, then one guy said, I'm also a mix. There was the heckling and all that. Then after 2 minutes, he came up on stage. He literally walked up on stage. And he took the mic and said, oh, I'm also a mix and blah, blah, blah and all that while I'm on stage. Then after he walked off stage. Then I was like, shit, now I gotta go on with this. So I kept on going for a few more minutes. After I looked to the right, he's there beside me. So this guy, he actually came backstage and came on stage. After that, he went off, then I just ended my jokes there. It was a really bad gig. And that time was my second year doing comedy. So I was still a rookie at that time. But now I've already counted those problems. So I set requirements like, before I go up on stage, no food should be served, everyone should be quiet, everyone should be facing the stage, MC to hype up the crowd, make sure no one else is allowed on stage. So now I'm a bit more
seasoned in that sense. Yeah. So when that happens, or situations that are similar to that happen, does your mind go blank?
No.
Or do you panic? What
I think
goes through your
I
mind?
think when I first started comedy, I'll go a bit of blank, but I'll just continue on. But see, that's the part where the improvisation works.
Yeah.
So sometimes we cannot be too structured. This is this. Sometimes you just got to wing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it really helps the other side of the brain to, hey, you know what? If things don't go well, what am I going to do? Like, so at that time I was partially blank, but I just kept on with my jokes.
Have you ever had a situation where you went completely blank?
Yeah. So it was a show in Hong Kong. I entered a competition, and because my first 2 years in doing comedy, I was very, very structured.
Okay.
I literally go through word by word for my jokes and all that, and I think it's not good, because you should be just going the topics or maybe the key points and not word by word. Maybe word by word is good for a rookie, but at the time I was a rookie, so I went to Hong Kong and I forgot my jokes and I was blank like for 10 seconds. Then the crowd started clapping to give cheer. Then after I just moved on to my last joke. And the sad part is, before I went blank, I actually had a great set that I think everyone laughed at all my punchlines and all that. So after I did learn that I got to be a bit more, I got to improvise a bit more and shouldn't be too structured, too rigid, because in the long term it's just not good.
What would you say to people who are performing and public speaking are one of the biggest fears among Malaysians, right? Would you say that you were a shy kid back in school? You always struck me. You always struck me as someone who was very shy.
Correct,
Not now,
yeah,
but So, how would you say to these people? Like, how do you break through that barrier of being shy, or some people are just naturally introverts?
Yeah.
How do they get through that and become good public speakers, good performers? Like when there's lights, camera, okay, let's go. Yeah, what would you say to these people?
I think for these kind of things, there are a few issues with this. Most people's issue, they'll say is stage fright.
Yeah.
They say performing in front of people. So now you know the issue is performing in front of people, which is like plural, right? A lot of people. So the first step is to find out what's the maximum amount of people where you're comfortable performing in front of. So let's say, I think I can handle a 3, then try with 3. Then after slowly move up to 5 and just increase the number until you're really comfortable. That's one thing. Another thing is you can always start off with a black box.
Okay.
So literally like blur your vision. It's just like, when you're thinking of something, let's say you're standing by the road you're just thinking of something, but from the outside when I look at you, you're staring at something. But you're not staring at something, you get what I mean? You just blur and you're just thinking of something. It's just like when you're driving, you're thinking a lot of things. But you're not like focused on the road. I mean, you're still driving okay. It's like your subconscious and all your, whatever you call it, your back-end stuff is all doing the work for you. Yeah. So that's one way. Find out the number of people you're comfortable with, then slowly increase that number. Or you can just treat it as like a black box, as a starter. Then later on you can look at audience, if you're stage fright. Another thing is some people, they are scared of, stage fright is normally the most common one. Another one, people are scared of content. So that one, there's no way around it. You could just got to know your content. Like before, you can't perform something where your content, you don't know your content.
What is your favorite kind of content to talk about now these days? Has it evolved? Like back when you started, did you like to focus on a certain type of content? And then over the years, you have evolved into something else?
I would say my content has always been the same as very general, it's clean comedy. That means I touch on all topics except the three that I mentioned. Last time I did not touch on politics, so politics, religion, sex and vulgarity. But over the past 1 year since the last elections, I started doing more political jokes.
I realized that, yeah.
So I think that's about it. In terms of whatever I do is every single topic that is out from the three that I mentioned that I won't do.
Okay. Now that you've gone full-time, you've ventured into this, into your passion, tell us how your day is like from the time you wake up. Is there a certain routine that you adhere to?
Unfortunately, no. So I'm trying to be more productive. So I did have plans to wake up at 8:30, 9 o'clock. Then I do like a half an hour exercise because apparently it stimulates the mind. But no, I'm still working at 9:30, 10, walk around the house, bathe slowly, surf the internet. And then I have an early lunch because I know my prime time is after lunch, regardless whichever time, after lunch until late evening. So I have an early lunch 11 so that I can beat the jam. I don't want to spend time on the road and I can go to a cafe or go somewhere and just do my work. So I'll start work at 12 and 6. But even some days are like really productive, I get something done. Some days I loiter around, like not physically but loiter around like on YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm still loads of improvement in this, I would say. Yeah.
Best part about doing this full-time?
I would say time freedom.
Okay.
Because so for the past few months financially it's been going well and I asked myself if money never existed, this is what I'll still be doing. Actually I'll still be doing consulting as well, but I just couldn't if let's say I had a consulting firm which I had more free time, I think that's fine. I like the job, but the 9 to 5 thing is a bit it's a big limitation to my comedy stuff and all that. But I do like the core work. I would say the biggest thing is time freedom because to be able to wake up anytime and you look at the jam, like people are all dressed up going to work and I'm here, I think that's a big achievement. So I think time freedom is the biggest payoff.
Yeah, nice. Okay, let's do a little bit of rapid fire questions.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Are you a day person or night person? Day or night?
Night.
Night. Okay. Dark chocolate or milk chocolate?
Milk chocolate.
Chocolate or candy?
Chocolate.
Finish this sentence. First thing I notice in a girl is...
The hair, because most of the time I see them from behind.
Favorite book?
Peter and Jane, 6A. Because after that they started making the words smaller and the pictures smaller. So,
Okay. Favorite movie?
Inception.
Favorite vacation spot?
Phuket.
Why?
That's way too mainstream. I just said it after this improvisation. It's actually not Phuket. I would say Halong Bay, Vietnam.
Halong Bay.
Yeah.
Okay. Emma Watson or Emma Stone?
Emma Stone.
Why?
I know I liked it in La La Land. I don't like Harry Potter, so I know Emma Watson's hot, but I don't like Harry Potter. It's always the same thing.
Okay, the Jennifers then. Jennifer Lopez or Jennifer Lawrence?
Lawrence,
Okay, why?
younger.
Older
Jennifer's way
girls?
too old.
Older girls or younger girls?
I'm okay at both, but it depends on the age gap. So younger, I have a bit more leeway. I think 5 to 10 years I'm still okay. But elder, I would say maybe 3 years,
Yeah?
Elder, yeah. Maybe 4
3
years.
older.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the threshold. Girls, you got it. Okay. So, where do you see yourself in 5 years, and where do you see yourself in 10 years?
Okay, 5 years is with Keanu Reeves, 10 years Leonardo DiCaprio, acting with him. No, I'm just joking. I have 5 years. I would still say the same lah, just like everything amplified, whatever I'm doing. Doing more international shows, international tours, and hopefully doing more shows in the big festivals. So like for comedy, the biggest festivals are always Montreal, Edinburgh, and Melbourne. So definitely in the next 5 years, I want to do more shows in these festivals. 10 years, I would say to increase the number of shows in England and US. Yeah,
Which is your favorite audience to perform in front of? Is it local? Is it international? And if it's international, where?
To me, I wouldn't say it's not so much on demographics. I would say it's just on the audience themselves, whether they are the ones who are open, the ones who got a high tolerance, low sensitivity. Those are my favorite audience. So I've gotten like good and bad, local and international audience. So that's not like I'm okay with both actually. Yeah. To me, it's more on some people they wear the corporate hats very strict. Some people they fold their hands. Oh, next joke. Yeah. I like people who are like relaxed and willing to laugh. Yeah. Doesn't matter wherever they are from.
Do you still get the jitters from going up on stage? Like, do you still have? Does your heart still palpitate fast? Do you still?
Yeah, especially if I'm
sweaty
doing
palms?
a very long set, or if I'm doing a newly developed joke. Yeah.
How do you deal with that then? Like now,
Yeah.
when you go up on stage and you see like all these corporate guys and you want to try a new joke, what are your mantra that you tell yourself? Okay, I have to talk myself down. What is it that you tell yourself?
So actually, I don't have a mantra, but recently I started doing positive physical positions. Like some comedians I heard they raise their hands.
Okay.
So apparently it's like a victory pose, and it helps. Like some people say, if you just keep smiling,
Okay.
you start thinking of positive stuff because law of attraction. So
Do you do it
I'm
only on
putting,
stage or in your daily life? When you keep
You mean
smiling?
daily life actually.
Daily life. Oh, okay. Okay.
Even on stage as well.
Okay.
Yeah. So before going up on stage, I will normally tell myself I can do this. Yeah. That's about it. I don't have like a specific mantra.
Okay. And you keep smiling.
Yeah.
So you keep thinking positive thoughts.
Yeah, but this is off stage. On stage, it depends. If the crowd is really rowdy, then I'll do more facial expression or that.
Okay.
If let's say in the theatre, I'll do it like a deadpan comedy or like neutral because I like that comedy the best where I'm just like poker face. I just tell my jokes and just people just laugh. I like that kind of thing.
No, I like your poker face. I've
Yeah.
seen you perform a couple of times. They're really good. Yeah. For young talent, let's talk about young talent here. What do you think about the talent pipeline in Malaysia when it comes to comedy?
Yeah, I think it's growing very fast. There are lots of open micers that are taking up comedy. I think locally their content is pretty good. But over the years, I always tell them it's good to start off local. Always perform for local first. But as you're moving along the next few years, try to look at international crowds. Do more international jokes to get internationally recognized.
What would you like to see being implemented in the industry?
I would just say better marketing. I would say because comedy, the one biggest issue is marketing. A lot of people don't know. It's like every Malaysian or every Asian, the weekend routine is very much the same. It's like eat and movie.
Yeah.
So people just need to know about comedy. That's about it. Marketing. If there's very good marketing for comedy, then that's great.
For young comedians that would like to venture,
Some people it's like a checkbox. I noticed that. So some open micers they go on the stage. I just want to give it a shot, like because I've never done this before. So I think that's fine. There's no, but if you're going to do this for a much longer time, I think it has to be passion. Some people do it for fame, but no one does it for money because in comedy it's very very difficult. You don't find much rich comedians. A lot of them are all pretty broke under B40 income group. So, which is another word for BRIM applicants. So yeah, there's a shot fired, but they can take it. So I would say don't do it for fame. Some people do it because you go up on stage, people look at you, you're under the spotlight. Don't do it for fame. Do it because you genuinely like it. So the why will fuel it.
okay.
Yeah, it's always the why. Yeah.
And the why will fuel it. Thank you, Gajen, for being with us here today. You can find Gajen on Facebook
Yeah.
On-
Gajen Nad. Yeah.
and Instagram.
Yeah, Instagram. That's right.
All right. Gajen also is launching his car review
car
portal
page, yeah.
soon. Yeah, what is it called?
It's called Gajen, Gear, Gear, then my name Jen. Yeah, I actually wanted to call it Gajen, Carjen, but apparently it's a food company that makes ramen. So now I got to change it to Gajen.
When are you launching that?
It's actually already launched, but my first car review will be tomorrow. I
Okay.
mean, I'll be shooting it tomorrow, but the product maybe next week. Yeah.
Okay, so keep your eyes and ears out for Gajen and his performances all on his social media channels. Thank you guys for being with us here today. Gajen, such a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Till next time, guys.
Bye.
Thank you.